What if the rusted junk in your garage could become the most beautiful part of your garden? You don't need money. You don't need space. You just need to see trash a little differently. Welcome to ModHaus DIY, where forgotten things find new purpose. In this video, we're diving into DIY trash garden ideas that actually work. Real projects. Real inspiration. You'll find timestamps below, so feel free to skip ahead or explore at your pace. Got a question? Drop it in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. And if this inspires you, don't just scroll away. Make it yours. Build it with what you have. Let it grow. This isn't just a tutorial. It's a part of my journey, shared with you. Maybe to you, I'm just another face on a screen. But behind this content, there's a real story, and a real family. This isn't just a video. It's a piece of my heart. Every like, every comment, every subscribe, it truly matters. When you hit that subscribe button, you're not just helping a creator grow. You're helping a dream stay alive. You're giving a small family hope, one click at a time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for seeing me. In a quiet corner of the backyard, color begins to whisper its way through forgotten materials. What once roamed the roads as worn-out tires has now bloomed into a garden of joy, floral sculptures rising from rubber, transformed by imagination and a splash of paint. The lotus-shaped piece nestled in the corner of a vinyl fence is more than decor, it's a tribute to patience and precision. Layers of tires, skillfully cut and shaped, are stacked into soft petal forms and painted with gradients of deep indigo and plum. Tiny white alyssum blooms spill from the center, like a burst of fragrance frozen in time. Pebbles encircle the base like a miniature Zen garden, grounding the entire sculpture in earthy serenity. Further along the garden path, cheerful daisies and bold sunflowers crafted from tire slices line a stepping stone walkway. Their faces are wide and welcoming, painted in glowing whites and yellows, each petal carefully cut from recycled thread. They watch over rows of lavender and marigold, turning an ordinary passage into a parade of warmth. This is not just art, it's delight made visible. And then, against a patch of gravel and wild summer grass, lies a row of tire blossoms in electric pinks, oranges, turquoise, and purples. Each bloom leans slightly in its own direction, catching light differently, like laughter caught mid-motion. Their petals are exaggerated, cartoonish, almost dancing in place, adding playful drama to an otherwise calm garden edge. What makes this idea so powerful is its accessibility. Anyone with an old tire, a saw, some paint, and a little patience can bring their yard to life. The joy isn't just in the finished piece, it's in the process, in reshaping what was once waste into something lovable. Into something yours. So if your garden needs a little whimsy, a flash of color, or a story told in sculpted bloom, perhaps the answer is already lying forgotten behind your shed. Sometimes, the most beautiful garden borders begin with something most people would throw away. Here, along the gentle curve of a small patio, rows of old bottles have been reborn, not just as barriers, but as subtle storytellers of color and care. In the first corner, pastel hues, mint, baby blue, terracotta, and sunflower yellow, gently stake their claim in the earth. Each bottle stands upright, a quiet sentinel, defining space while softening it. This isn't just edging. It's a color rhythm. As the afternoon sun filters through nearby geraniums, the painted glass catches light in ways that feel both accidental and divine. There's something satisfying about how the bottles, so uniform in shape, become playful in color. Then comes the coated path. Along the edge of a tidy walkway, bottles are topped with numbered corks and dotted with flower motifs. It feels like a game, a riddle for the curious. Are they marking something? Or simply celebrating joy and order? Whatever the intent, the result is clear. This garden feels alive with personality. The flowers behind it, petunias in full bloom, echo the tones on the bottles, pulling the design together with effortless harmony. And finally, in a space that feels kissed by ocean air, soft glass bottles, some translucent, others muted with age, line a sun-warmed edge of terracotta tile. Behind them, herbs rise in aromatic rows. Rosemary, thyme, lavender. These aren't just borders, they're frames for a life lived gently and creatively, where every bottle tells of a hand that chose to reuse, not refuse. This kind of project doesn't demand precision, it invites presence. A brush. A few colors. A bottle saved instead of thrown. You don't need a perfect plan, just a willingness to make something a little more beautiful than it was yesterday. And in that act, a small patio becomes not just a place to sit, but a place to belong. There's something quietly enchanting about walking toward a gazebo framed not by stone or steel, but by what once rolled unnoticed along a road, now curved, painted, and reborn as a doorway into rest. In the first scene, tire arches rise like open arms. Painted in gentle earth tones, terracotta, sage green, and warm cream, they curve inward, drawing the eye toward a bamboo-roof gazebo tucked beneath flowering shrubs. Delicate string lights hug each arch, ready to glow when dusk leans in. Inside, a small bistro table awaits, casting faint shadows across the gravel floor. The entire space hums with the kind of calm you don't buy, you build, slowly, with care. And then there's a wilder expression of joy. Blue and copper-painted tires, split and reassembled into looping curls, form a sculptural gateway to a gazebo lined in wood. Hanging petunias spill from the upper arcs like waterfalls of color. The surrounding lavender dances in the breeze, brushing lightly against gravel paths that welcome footsteps but expect none. It's bold, playful, unapologetic, yet entirely inviting. Finally, a softer variation. The gentle embrace of a pale rose-pink arch leaning toward its twin in white, both draped in flowering clematis and star-shaped jasmine. Together, they mark the entrance to a whitewashed gazebo with a simple wooden bench inside. The grass below is immaculate, the setting natural, and the story unmistakable. This was crafted by someone who saw beauty in what others discarded. These arches aren't just garden features. They're emotional cues. A reminder that old things still hold potential, that even a tire, bent, painted, and placed with intention, can become a frame through which peace arrives. And perhaps more than that, they invite us to pause. To walk slower. To breathe deeply before stepping inside. Because sometimes, The entrance itself is part of the destination. In a world that moves too quickly, there is something sacred in stillness. And here, among gravel, moss, and a quiet edge of glass, stillness finds a home. This garden isn't large. It doesn't bloom in bursts of color. It doesn't compete. Instead, it invites you to slow down, to notice. Along the edge of a softly raked gravel bed, black bottles are placed neck down into the soil, deliberate, rhythmic, almost ceremonial. Their glossy surfaces reflect morning light, like calm water or polished stone. They mark the space, not with height or flash, but with presence. Just beyond, a Japanese maple unfurls its red lacework against a smooth green wall, its branches still as breath held in. In the center, a ring of stepping stones gathers like a quiet conversation, nothing loud, yet everything felt. The bottles act as both frame and contrast, their dark simplicity elevating the pale stones and open space they surround. In another corner, matte black bottles form a border around a dry stream of pebbles and lava rock. A bamboo pergola above casts long shadows across the moss, each line softening as the light changes through the day. There is no need for flowers here. The texture is enough. The form is the story. This kind of garden doesn't ask for perfection. It welcomes intention. Each bottle reused becomes a gesture, toward balance, toward mindfulness, toward using what we already have to craft something meaningful. You don't need much. Just a few bottles. A handful of gravel. A quiet corner and a little patience. And from that, you can build a space that doesn't scream beauty, but breathes it. In the quiet of a back patio, where the morning light slides across gravel and the air smells faintly of rosemary, something unexpected is growing, not just vegetables, but a story of reinvention. Here, car rims, once forgotten or rusting in a garage corner, have found new life as vessels of nourishment. A row of brightly painted rims, mustard yellow, forest green, brick red, leans gently against the wooden fence, each one filled with rich, dark soil and rows of lettuce, kale, and cherry tomatoes. It's a tiny farm in the middle of an urban corner, made not of designer beds, but of scrap and soul. The colors add joy, but the real magic is in what they now carry: food, growth, purpose. Beside them, a single teal-painted rim overflows with spinach and radishes, some of the ruby bulbs just peeking through the leaves. It rests atop a reclaimed wood pallet, offering just enough elevation for better drainage and a touch of rustic charm. A pair of worn gardening gloves lies nearby, dusted with soil. This isn't a showroom garden, it's a real one. The kind built with care, not perfection. And then, perhaps the most unexpected of all, white rims detailed with hand-drawn floral sketches, delicate and full of character. They cradle parsley, basil, and zucchini sprouts, each plant humming with potential. Around them, brick pavers set a clean rhythm to the space, while the backdrop of a simple wooden fence frames it all with familiarity and calm. This isn't just about growing food. It's about reclaiming space, using what's already here. It's about seeing beauty in function, and finding satisfaction in things made by hand, not bought. A car rim doesn't ask to be beautiful. but given soil, seeds, and a little bit of hope, it becomes just that. In one magical corner of the backyard, the vegetables don't grow alone. They're watched over by a band of cheerful guardians, crafted not from plastic or stone, but from painted tires once destined for the landfill. Here, imagination turns junk into joy, and the garden becomes a place where vegetables grow alongside laughter. A sleepy bear in a red fedora, a wide-eyed owl in teal and gold, and a mischievous raccoon with striped ears form a welcoming trio near raised beds of lettuce and tomatoes. They aren't just decoration, they're characters in a storybook garden, bringing a sense of warmth and safety to the tiny world between the sunflowers. Children pause their games to greet them, and adults can't help but smile as they pass. Further down the fence line, another trio appears, painted in rustic red, blue, and green, each with quirky bottle cap eyes and upcycled bottle features. A cow with gear-shaped pupils, a cat with whiskers made from garden stakes, and a frog with a wide red smile peek out between wooden slats. Behind them, hydrangeas bloom in soft pastels, and ornamental grasses sway like tall whispers in the breeze. Even the flowers seem to lean in closer, curious about their playful neighbors. And at the far end of the garden, a group of stacked tire figures, bright yellow, bold red, sky blue, stand proudly among pole beans and sunflowers, their faces expressive, their energy contagious. Some wink, others grin, all of them alive with handmade charm. They form a whimsical boundary, but more than that, they build connection, a reminder that gardens aren't just about plants. They're about play, color, memory. These tire characters don't require perfection. They require heart, a bit of paint, some bottle caps, and a desire to turn discarded rubber into something worth noticing again. Because sometimes the best fences aren't the ones that keep things out, but the ones that draw people in. Some gardens whisper their beauty, others are built from old things that dare to bloom again. Here, what was once destined for the recycling bin now hangs with quiet dignity along a weathered fence. Bottles, clear, colored, frosted, have been repurposed into vessels of life. No two are alike, yet each carries the same purpose, to cradle green hope. In one corner, glass jugs with knotted twine suspend parsley and sage like botanical wind chimes. Their roots nestle among gravel, the soil dark and rich, their stems stretching toward filtered light with patient intention. Just a few steps away, a wall of soft pastel bottles, mint, lilac, and cloud blue, has been reborn as a cheerful herb display. A black wire trellis holds them in place, while butterflies dance lazily in the late afternoon sun. Handwritten labels sway gently with the breeze: thyme, rosemary, basil. These little bottles, once forgotten, now release scents that stir childhood kitchens and summer recipes. Farther along, on the oldest side of the fence, you'll find dark wine bottles, their middles hollowed to make room for new life. The twine that holds them is coarse but strong, looped through their necks and tied like a promise. Oregano spills from one, basil from another. They lean toward the warmth of the setting sun, leaves trembling just slightly with the joy of being seen. It's not a high-budget garden. It doesn't try to be impressive. But it is felt. Real. You can build this yourself, with nothing but bottles, soil, twine, and a little belief that beauty doesn't need to be new to matter. And once you do, every herb you snip becomes more than an ingredient, it becomes a story of second chances. Somewhere between the scent of lavender and the hush of waves remembered, this little garden corner comes to life, not with grandeur, but with calm, recycled charm. Lining its border are old bottles once destined for the bin, now reborn as glistening ocean hues, sea glass greens, smoky teals, and cobalt blues. Turned upside down or standing tall in proud rows, they create a rhythm that mimics the sea's gentle swell, a flowing wave frozen in sunlit glass. In one corner, the bottles rise like a tide around a bed of succulents and blue grass, soft and clustered like undersea coral gardens. Crushed turquoise gravel forms a gentle shore, dotted with weathered shells and polished stones, giving even inland spaces the salty illusion of a seaside stroll. A small wooden sign, reading, "Seaside Garden," sits tucked among the bottles, playful yet poetic, like something left behind by a beachcomber with a knack for daydreaming. Along a narrow path nearby, more bottles flank a winding walkway, casting blue shadows onto daisies and chamomile. Driftwood posts, naturally curved and grayed by time, break the repetition, offering texture and height. It's a humble, human-scale design, perfect for those who garden more with feeling than formula, who enjoy materials that have stories in their scratches and bubbles in their glass. And then there's the lavender stretch, simple, low, but alive with fragrance and bees. Here, bottles are buried neck-first in tidy rows, their bottoms catching the warm glow of a late-day sun. The play of glass against soft white pebbles and silvery leaves tells us something quietly profound. Trash, with intention and care, can carry beauty further than we imagined. For anyone wondering what to do with leftover wine bottles, soda glass, or flea market finds, start here. Let the colors guide you. Let the shapes surprise you. Let the waves in your garden dance to your own tide. In the quiet hush of a backyard afternoon, where sunbeams fall like whispers between the slats of a wooden pergola, something unexpected catches the eye, not expensive, not pristine, but impossibly joyful. The posts that once stood bare have been reborn in layers of story and color. Here, old plastic bottles and glass jars, discarded, forgotten, have found second lives as sculptural wrappings around each leg of the pergola. Some are sliced into rings and painted in earthy tones, terracotta red, olive green, and sunflower yellow, like the colors of a faded farm quilt left out in the sun. Others remain whole, their translucent blues and seafoam greens glowing softly in the light, stacked into gradients that echo the slow shifting of the sky above. The craftsmanship is simple, but tender. Rebar stakes or hidden rods anchor the bottles securely, forming a vertical stack that hugs the beams like vibrant garden jewelry. Ivy curls upward in between the bottles, a gentle invitation from nature to continue the transformation. In one corner, you'll see morning glories poking through, their blossoms finding rest in the spaces between reuse and regrowth. This isn't just decoration. It's memory. It's the echo of lemonade bottles shared on porches, soda jugs carried home from summer fairs, old containers once bound for trash but now immortalized in a frame of joy. The whole structure feels like a celebration, not only of reuse, but of kindness, patience, and presence. And maybe that's what makes it so beautiful. You don't need power tools. You don't need plans. You just need to begin, collect, clean, paint, and stack. You make space for small things to matter again. You make art from the ordinary. And in doing so, your garden becomes more than a space, it becomes a story worth standing inside. In the hush of late afternoon sun, where gravel paths meet the softened clatter of old metals given new life, there lies a garden that tells a story of reinvention. The borders of this space aren't marked by timbers or bricks, but by stacks of forgotten car rims, each one scrubbed, stacked, and transformed into a vessel for living color. What once spun on highways now cradles sprigs of basil, bursts of marigold, and the lazy trail of nasturtiums stretching out to touch the ground. It is a paradox made tender: steel and soil, rust and bloom. The rims rise at different heights like a tiered amphitheater for herbs and pollinator plants. Some are left unpainted, bearing the soft gray of aged metal, freckled with the patina of time. Others wear coats of muted cream, olive, or a bold red-black contrast that turns heads and holds glances. The mix gives rhythm to the garden, like notes on a page, sturdy, grounded, but always in motion. Not just decoration, these rims serve as planters and protectors. Their circular walls hold moisture longer, especially useful in dry seasons, and their depth makes them ideal for root vegetables or compact herbs. They keep creeping plants contained and define space with personality. Between each section, pathways of gravel or mulch invite soft footsteps and slow strolls, encouraging moments of pause. This idea doesn't require perfection. It rewards play. Stack a few rims from the salvage yard, fill them with good soil, tuck in seeds, and let nature rise through the industrial past. That contrast, of growth breaking through scrap, is exactly what makes the space unforgettable. Sometimes the most meaningful borders aren't drawn by what we buy, but by what we dare to reuse. In a quiet garden nook, where the laughter of bees threads through blooming mint and bee balm, rise towers of unexpected joy. Made entirely from old bottles, some painted in soft pastels, others left in their original amber or cobalt blue, these vertical sculptures stand like guardians of the whimsical. They're not just decorations, they are conversations between light and glass, color and texture, whimsy and waste. The totems are built from bottles of all shapes and sizes, wine, soda, even old olive oil jars, threaded through a central rod like beads on a memory string. Some stacks are crowned with solar lights, others with ornamental caps or ceramic knobs, giving each one its own personality. When the sun is low, the colored glass flickers and reflects, casting rainbows on basil leaves and garden paths. In one corner, a bottle's light bounces off a stepping stone. In another, pink cosmos sway gently beneath a column of frosted white and ocean green. There's a rhythm to it all, a handmade melody you can see. If you're inspired to try this at home, begin with what you have. Don't worry about matching bottles, mismatched makes the magic. Use rebar or garden stakes to hold your sculpture steady, separating each bottle with wood spacers or clay saucers to prevent wobbling. You can even seal the ends with silicone for outdoor durability. And don't forget the details, a tiny bead between bottles, a salvaged porcelain doorknob at the top, or a candle tucked inside for evening glow. The charm of this project lies in its imperfection, its clear celebration of reuse, creativity, and care. In a world of fleeting trends and fast decor, these bottle totems stand patiently, reminding us that even trash, in the right hands, can become totems of wonder. There's something quietly enchanting about walking through a garden where the ordinary has been turned into something dreamlike. These charming mushrooms, once discarded tires, now bloom with personality and imagination along a winding path. In the soft morning light, their painted caps gleam, some in cherry red with bold white dots like classic fairy tale toadstools, others in calming pastels with the faded grace of vintage lace. Each sculpture holds its own mood, some bright and playful, others soft and serene. What once roamed city streets now stands still in a storybook setting. The transformation is part art, part magic, each tire trimmed and stacked, the forms sturdy yet whimsical. Acrylic or outdoor-grade latex paints work well for weatherproofing, especially when paired with a matte sealant to preserve those dreamy tones. For added realism, you can texture the surface using a sponge or dry brush technique. Subtle shadows give the illusion of natural gills and aging caps. Along the mossy ground, stepping stones lead you between clusters of these fungi, inviting you deeper into the fantasy. Beneath some, thyme and violas spread like miniature meadows. Under others, creeping jenny spills like golden threads. Butterflies float between them lazily, and a weathered watering can tucked to one side suggests someone has just stepped away, mid-morning chore, caught up in a daydream. This isn't just about decor, it's about creating a feeling. A place where a child's imagination could run barefoot and wild, or where an older soul might pause, breathe, and remember the joy of quiet play. These upcycled mushrooms don't just decorate a garden. They whisper stories. They say, you can make magic with what you already have, if only you look twice. In a quiet corner of a small patio, where the fence catches the golden light of late afternoon, something unexpected blooms, not from soil or seed, but from scrap. Rows of discarded car rims, once spinning down highways, now rest still and purposeful against the wood panels, transformed into holders of color and joy. Each one tells its own story. Some are rust-kissed, holding cheerful marigolds and trailing succulents. Others are freshly painted in soft shades of robin's egg blue, lemon cream, and faded coral, bursting with petunias and pansies that dance in the breeze. There's a gentle rhythm to the arrangement, some rims tilted slightly, others stacked like stepping stones up the fence. Ivy weaves between them, softening the steel edges, adding a tender touch of nature reclaiming what was once machine. The scent of thyme and lavender lingers in the air, drawing butterflies and the occasional curious sparrow, as if nature herself approves of this upcycled art. This isn't just decoration, It's a quiet rebellion against waste, a celebration of possibility. A reminder that even broken things, even old things, can bloom again with care. For those with little ground to spare, a vertical garden like this becomes a clever solution. Drill holes in the bottom of each rim for drainage, pack them gently with soil and flowers of your choice, and mount them securely to a sturdy fence. No need for expensive planters, just a little time, some screws, and imagination. And when you sit back in that old chair with a cup of coffee, watching light spill through the flowers and onto the wood, you'll feel it, the quiet magic of turning trash into something tender, something alive.